Pam, how's it going?
Hey, I don't know if you can see me. Your screen popped up. There we go. I can see you. Hey.
Hey.
Am I delayed? Okay.
Yeah, the connection might be a little lagging or a little delayed, yeah. But
Okay.
real quick, cheers to being on the show
Hey, cheers.
and Endangered Wings and to you. Woo!
Woo!
Yes. Oh, yes.
And what is your drink of choice?
I'm having my classic vodka and ginger ale with a lime.
Ah, nice taste.
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of like when it's winter, I kind of have that, and then when it's summer, I have a rum and coke with a lime.
Okay.
I try to change it up to a Jack and Coke or, something else. So, but I try to expand my horizons here and there sometimes. So,
Yeah.
but
Cool.
yeah. Actually, the vodka that I have now, I mean, I feel like relatively all vodka is relatively the same. However, like bombshell vodka, you could tell the difference in the taste.
Okay.
However, I've been drinking. I don't know if you ever heard of them. I recently, like this year, heard of them. They're called NJ Beach Badge Vodka. They're in Freehold.
No, but local. That's cool.
Yeah, they're very local. Yeah, I found their vodka in the ShopRite Spirits in Asbury off the Asbury exit,
Okay.
and I saw them and because I was looking for more. I was actually looking for Asbury Park vodka, but I'm pretty sure you have to go to the brewery for, or not the distillery for that.
Right.
So I came across them, and then yeah, it's pretty good.
It works. Okay. All
So
right.
I
Cool.
definitely recommend trying them. What are you drinking over there?
Oh, well, I'm starting light. So my cousins are from here, so I support their local beer. This is Narragansett lager. It's very light,
Nice.
but yeah. So that's up in Rhode Island. So
Okay.
cheers. Yeah, great. Great beer,
Cheers,
good
guys.
flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, locally sourced. So I'm all for it. Yeah. So
Sweet.
I'm starting with that, and then I'll probably switch to a nice IPA because I like my dark ales. So
Because you like who?
I like dark. I like dark ales.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll
Very
switch.
cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Well, what's it called? So I'm just kind of jogging my screen around here, or juggling stuff around my screen here. So bear with me. So how have you been though? How have you been since what was it? Charting a course to save Barnegat Bay, that event. How have you been?
Well, actually, yeah, things have been good. I mean, I think everyone can kind of agree on 2020. We're just plugging away.
Yeah.
So that impacted people. It impacted nature. It impacted everything. So, but I think having work where I was and having so much experience with kids and being able to go to schools, I missed that so much this year. I really look forward to those things. But as far as health and happiness, like really good. So
I say you sound pretty chill right now. You sound pretty like, yeah, it's all good today.
yeah, it's all good tonight. Yeah. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So well, and how about you?
I'm good as well. I'm still working. Fortunately, I was due to COVID. I had to leave my job because COVID happened. So,
Yeah.
but fortunately, my dad actually works for a meat distribution company. So they needed extra hands. So he called me up, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Nice.
I'm getting bored a little bit for 3 weeks, so why not? So I've been working there ever since and hanging.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
That's really
so
cool.
learn a little bit about the meat industry, which I mean I don't really like see all the items that I'm handling, but just because they're all in boxes, so we don't really have time to like be like, hey, what kind of meat is this, whatever.
Okay. Okay. That's
But
probably a good thing.
it's interesting just to see kind of a phase of how your food is processed.
Yeah. But
So
are you seeing the process, or is it just you're seeing the finished product?
pretty much the finished product. Yeah, I'm like I see like the out of X amount of phases, I see like when it's boxed and like we kind of distribute to whatever market we're putting it to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. And hey, you're working. It's
Yeah, like I said, I'm fortunate to be working because not a lot of people are right now. So I'm just
yeah.
hanging out. I actually have to get up tomorrow morning to be at work at 4 a.m. So that's gonna be fun. But
4
I
a.m.
mean, yeah, 4 a.m. So,
Right.
but
It's
I
not
get
that
out
bad.
like roughly like right before noon. So I mean, I have the rest
Wow.
of the day to do whatever. So, but all right. So for everyone that does not know who the hell you are,
Who am I?
who are you?
Maybe.
Just give us who you are and like just give us your story. Like why do you and also why do you coincidentally have butterflies on your hat?
Ah, yes, my Christmas butterflies. Okay, well these are monarch butterflies, which is
Ooh,
no, yeah. So that's like
classy.
queen of butterflies, right? Everybody knows a monarch butterfly.
Yeah.
And yes, and it goes well with my Christmas hat. But the reason why I am wearing my butterflies is usually when I'm doing any of my educational programs. First of all, I'm Pamela Almeida. Hi. I'm a founder of Endangered Wings, which is a charitable organization. I focus on education from, oh, I keep saying a lot. You can tell I'm nervous. In classroom education, installing gardens, getting grants to basically work every festival, convention, anything I can see. I'm setting up tables and really hoping to spread messages about pollination and butterflies and how one person can make a difference. So I enjoy it, and I've been raising butterflies also for about maybe 16 years, maybe. So quite some time. I've learned a lot from the very beginning. Science has changed. I enjoy that because they are an endangered species, which is why I have my program, Endangered Wings. Okay, so that took a long time, and I'm sure I didn't cover what I needed to cover. Was
All right, just keep going.
yeah, so that's what I do. I raise butterflies. I do educational programs. I inspire, encourage. Um, how we as landowners, even if it's a little spot, we can really make a huge impact in our neighborhoods, which is so desperately needed. And when I use butterflies for education, for example, when you try to talk to someone about their yard, the first thing they're going to talk about is um, how they get it sprayed. They don't have any bugs. Come on over for a barbecue. And that's not my place to like tell someone about it. But maybe if they knew the consequences of their actions, and you see someone call you or contact you and want to know more about, hey, I heard. I didn't know that these plants were hurting, the yard. I didn't know I can make a difference. What plants do I need to put in my yard to get butterflies, for example? I find that so rewarding. So that's why I do what I do, because I believe if you can just reach, I know I get the kids all the time, and they teach the message of how we can help save not only the monarch, but other endangered species as well. So that's kind of what I do in a nutshell, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So I raise hundreds of butterflies a year. So my my dining room at one point, probably in mid-July, you can actually hear the crunching of like hundreds of monarch butterflies, and I have a really good success rate with them. So
Nice.
raising them is a privilege. Yeah, it is really nice. I love them like crawling on your face and hanging out before they fly. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I could show you like crazy videos. I got them like crawling them. I just think they're so cool. Um,
I feel
and
like not a lot of people would agree with you, to be honest with you. They're like, oh my god, fire!
no, you're
Butterfly
right
is on my face. What the hell?
Yeah, so you're right. Oh my gosh, I have some great well, they're probably not great, but they're on my website because I don't apparently care about being goofy. Um, where I've got like one on my lip and I've got, they're crawling on my eyelashes. They're literally like this, like all over my face. And I think it's so cool because you watch them from an egg and you raise them for a whole month, and to have them.
So they're like your little babies and stuff.
They are, and it's such a neat thing to let something that probably would not have made it if you didn't step in. Um,
Hmm.
and that even if it's one out of 1,000, that's one that wouldn't have been there before. So I find that, very rewarding. What I do.
That is awesome. So like, I'll just cut to the chase now and just ask like, so you've been doing this for a while. And you're actually the founder of it, which is really cool. So what made you get into this? You were just like, hey, butterfly, cool, I want to do it. Like what? Like
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, I think I grew up with animals. My mother worked at a zoo, you know, um, like I grew up with my mom bringing lemurs home to hang out in the house. I just kind
did
of
you just say lemurs? What? That is sick.
yeah. So they were like my best friends. I'm 4 years old. They're high fiving. Yeah, it was awesome. So, yeah, that's a unique story.
What?
Yeah. So I
That's
think
like that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that was like one of my like childhood like I guess fantasies, just like having a freaking pet lemur, just like, hey, what's up, buddy? Like one of those pirates and the parrot, like that's so cool.
yeah, yeah, it's really cool. So I think um, between that, I've lived on a farm. I've horses and dogs, and my grandfather is Native American, and had a lot of knowledge about things, and would take me for walks through the woods. And a very stubborn and patient old man. But with me, he would, he'd pick up a stick and he'd whittle, as we walked, and he could point out every bird just by, he would close his eyes and he could tell you exactly what that was and where it was and how to track certain things and what the trees are and what birch trees taste like, just like really, what fungus this is. And I think as a kid,
Wow.
yeah, right.
He
I
was like
started,
a man of the land, like just listening, like that's insane.
yeah, yeah.
That,
I mean,
that's like truly Native American there.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. It taught you things, how you could tell it was going to rain by, looking at the moon, how to listen to the trees, just really, really cool stuff. So I think that, and my mother was a total hippie. So I was going to festivals and eating vegetable hot dogs and, all this dancing and stuff. So I have always been around people who appreciate art and animals. And it was just like, it was just like having spaghetti dinner, having things around you. And, it was just a normal thing, having lemurs
It's
jump
so
around.
weird. It's so cool, but it's like a good weird. It's like that's like
Yeah.
not your typical like dinner or like I guess life. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think I just had I wasn't very good with people, actually. Terrified of talking to people. I came, from Kentucky to New Jersey. And even
Oh,
as a
that
child,
must have been different.
yeah, a little bit, right? I was really shy. So I found going into the woods and observing, the noises and the sounds and trying to identify certain things was so peaceful to me. I felt more of a connection with that than I did with actual people who I, was very nervous around. So um, that I think got me into all animals, but I'm a diehard, like, that we can make a difference. One of those. I just really, really, I think empowered people can do such amazing things, and not having the knowledge is what I love to do, because there is hope and there's so much that, we can do. Anyway, so when I found out about so many insects going extinct, you can see on any magazine, the insect apocalypse, and of course, knowing the food chain, it starts out with, even before the insects, it starts out with, our filters, mussels, clams, the shape of our bay, our estuaries. So, finding out what our practices do, because nobody really knows. The education's not out there. You're taught how to landscape a certain way. You're taught what should look aesthetically pleasing. And I think if people really knew that they could do something, it does make a difference. And so how do you tell people, for example, they're spraying their house with mosquito? Like, you just don't go up and go, hey, did you know you're poisoning many, insects and arthropods? It's not really the conversation you have. So you can't talk about bees. Like, everyone hates bees because they sting and they're terrible. And you ask a kid and they're just, oh, they're terrible. No, and I do, because when I do tours, I ask kids, I'm like, and what do you think of bees? Are they good or bad? And they're just, no, they're terrible. So the things they're learning are difficult.
So, like, you're just like really, you're like the advocate of educating people on, like, the typical thoughts associated with, like, when you're saying, like, bees are in your yard, or unwanted insects are, like, flying around in your yard, or, like, actually that's, like, pretty good stuff. You actually want that for a good garden. If you decide to, have a nice pretty garden, like all those nice flowers and stuff, like, you want them to help pollinate, or, help create more of those, flowers and scenery.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. And so the monarch butterfly is the best window to use, because you're not going to want to talk about mosquitoes in your yard. You're not going to want to talk about bees that sting. You're not going to, really care about, those insects. But when you find out the same things you're doing to those are killing the iconic butterfly, the monarch, everyone knows the monarch, then people go, what? I didn't know it was hurting a butterfly, because butterflies are pretty. So that was like, there's my ticket. I'm going to learn everything I can learn about these and figure out a way. If people can connect with something, then they're interested in saving it. So they don't want to save the bees or the butter, but you show them a butterfly, they're like, all right, I want to help that. That's terrible. I can do something great,
For
so
sure, yeah.
It's very sneaky of me to slide in this type of education, right? I'm like, I'm sliding in information, and
Yeah, for sure. So then, actually, after this short break that we take right now, I want to actually dive into, like, just pretty much let's go into, like, a butterfly kind of 101, like, entry, like, knowledge lesson for a little bit.
All right, so do you have questions? You can, like...
I do. Well, I have base questions in my head, actually, right now that, as you were talking, I kind of thought of. So we'll just take a quick break, and then we'll go into it.
All right, cool. All right, do I need to hit any buttons?
No, you just sit there and look pretty like you are right now.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, if my
and we'll be back with Pam and I and her awesome butterfly hat.
All right, cool. Tuned.
Huh?
Oh, so we're behind the scenes now.
No, now we're in front of the scenes. We were just behind the scenes, but it's all good.
I'm going cheers then. Cheers. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Cheers, Pam. Woohoo!
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is awesome, by the way.
We're back with the awesome and beautiful Pam. How do you say your last name? Almeida?
Yeah, Almeida. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Just want to make sure I didn't butcher it. So.
No, actually, it was good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Usually we get Almeida, which is fine too.
Actually, Google pronounced it fine for me then, because I was like, text endangered wings, Pamela Almeida, and then she's like, endangered wings, Pamela Almeida. I'm like, yes, thank you.
That works. Yes. Oh, that's
But
great. Yeah. So thank
okay,
you for having
so
me though. And I think I think it was at least 2 years, right? So I'm honored you even remembered me. I was like, that was really cool when you reached out. So thank you.
oh yeah, for sure. Well, there's actually still a couple people that I want to reach out from charting a course because they were I think a couple of them were from DEP, a couple of them were from PEW or whatever. Like there were so many
Yeah.
representatives from so many places that I'm just like, okay, you're on. Like,
Yeah.
but I'd say ask Grace Ann for like her guest list because there are a bunch of people that I want to have on the show from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Yeah. Yes, I'm honored. That's nice.
What's
But yeah,
up?
there's especially Grace Ann is a very knowledgeable.
Oh, she's awesome. She's
Yeah.
great. She's so nice too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had her on this is number 26. So I had her on about 3 or 4 episodes ago.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you checked it out yet, but definitely check out her episode too.
Now I'm nervous because I can't top that. She is amazing.
Oh no, you're fine. You're totally fine. You're doing awesome so far, honestly. But I actually do have a couple of questions, so I had to write them down so I didn't forget. So if you can just kind of before the whole break, we were talking about butterflies and like your whole background and everything. So I wanted to actually ask like just a simple question, like what are the different, I guess, species that based on your knowledge and expertise, like can you name a few species of butterflies?
Oh, how about maybe some I've raised? Like I've raised
Yeah, some that you've raised, yeah.
Oh, sure. Well, of course, the monarch butterfly.
Right.
But I also raised swallowtails, cercospora moths, polyphemus moths, luna moths, any of this giant silk moths. Admiral butterflies. If I see a cocoon, then I can take care of it. Well, really, an egg, I should say. I don't like taking them in as cocoons, but yeah. So I enjoy raising them. Those are just some of the species that I raise, and they're all the same, and they're all a little different, and some are a lot of work, and some of them are. But it's just so rewarding to release a pollinator. I think is just really cool. So that's what I do. I know. I tend to take a long way around the barn, so if you need to shorten me, let me know.
That was pretty quick, actually. I thought you were gonna be like, "Well, this is like naming like 20 of them," but no, that was great.
Yeah, I figure that's at least native to New Jersey, so I don't.
Actually, yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Is what are butterflies that are actually native to New Jersey, or at least let's start with New Jersey first.
Well, some of them that I mentioned. We have lots of. I have examples too, but we have lots. I have one example right here, just because I have them all over the house. But here's your monarch butterfly. Is that blind?
Nice?
I don't know if you can see that. So this is one of my pin specimens, which I use on my educational table. So when people go, wow, they're really that big, because nobody sees them anymore. Yeah, so I like that. So, I don't know the answer to that one. So wait, where were we on that one?
You were about to pretty much just repeat which ones were the natives to New Jersey.
Okay, yes, because I do have some interesting samples. So you could look at, we have beautiful skippers, which are the small little butterflies that you see. They're usually brown, more camouflage colored. We have like the white moths. We've got swallowtails and lady pinks and monarchs and silk moths, which are the largest species of silk moth in North America. They get, but they get about that big.
Wow.
So yeah, they're amazing. They are larger than a Luna moth, which a lot of people know of as that large greenish white butterfly, which is
Okay.
actually, but yeah, so those are just some of the species. There's an abundance of them, all different species and subspecies, but you don't see them as much anymore. So it's really important to notice them, I think. So those are some of the natives. Those are at least some that I've raised as well.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you have any more examples handy or no?
I I do. Should I pick up the computer and like bring it to my wall? Oh my goodness, I do.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Right? I don't know.
If you're able to get a couple in front of the camera, awesome. If not, then you could just send me them through like email, and then I could just upload them to the video.
Okay, I think that would be good because otherwise, like I do have some specimens on the wall. I actually raised stick bugs as well. Or
Stick bugs?
yeah,
What?
yeah. So yeah, so I have a bunch of those going right now. I've got 2 tanks filled with babies. I've probably got like 200, something like that.
Oh wow.
I know, yeah. So I do
200?
have some
That's
of those.
isn't that a lot or not really?
Well, almost like praying mantises, the reason why they have so many is because there's a small percentage that'll make it. So even though you start with babies that are, 200, if you can get a good, at least 40% to be able to release back into the wild because they're native, I think that's a really big difference. So, you try to do, the odds are what it is, but the odds are 90% better with my helping. And they're so much fun. They're like really adorable. They have these little faces that look like old men. They're just like this little, oh my God, they're just adorable. So, hey, some people see puppy and go, oh, not that I don't, but man.
No, I mean, like, it's just funny because, like, I mean, granted, butterflies are definitely pretty, like, especially when they're, like, fluttering around and stuff. You're just like, ooh, mesmerizing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
But,
no.
like,
Yeah.
it's cool. I like it. It's like not one of those, like, it's like one of those underrated, like, underappreciated fields. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
I hope that came off like as well as I wanted it to. But what I'm saying is like, because what I've been doing like a little bit of research on for the show, and pretty much what I've learned, at least from YouTube, at least, is that like pollinators are definitely a lot more important than we give them credit for, or that we may not understand enough.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting because it's like I just learned that, like, I mean, I'm not gonna give it away right now. I want to like kind of lead up to it, but pollinators are actually responsible, and I think I texted it to you today too. But pollinators are responsible for 2 of the most popular things that we consume on a daily basis that we're not really even aware of. At least I was not aware of them.
Right, and you would not have those products if they did not exist.
Exactly, and I'm just like blown away.
Yeah, but that's I want to say, what is it? I think the statistics are 3 out of 5 things that are on your plate. 3 of those would only be here with pollinators. Those 3.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, and then you had, I believe it was it Charles Darwin, who said if bees did not exist, the human population would only live, I think it was like 14 days or something. Again, this is before we had refrigeration and things that we have today, but it would eventually happen because if we don't have pollinators, you don't have plants, and then you don't have animals that eat plants. And I think somewhere, like, did we forget to teach the chain, like the food chain somewhere, that people don't realize what they're doing is affecting the entire environment. It's affecting everything, including ourselves. Even if they, people want to put themselves at the top of the food chain, fine, but you're affecting yourself too, and our food population, and diversity, our food diversity. Think about how that would go. How are you going to feed your cows? How are you going to feed your pigs if you don't have grain? You don't have grain if you don't have a pollinator. What are you going to eat? Fish? What are you doing to the water? Kind of thing.
I
So I know.
Too much thinking, no.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but it's good to know that people do forget that, because they always think of bees and mosquitoes and ticks, and they forget to think about the butterfly. To be honest with you, I don't think people are like, oh, I'm going to spray my yard and kill the butterfly, But I do think there's not enough education on them. You know what I mean? I think if people knew that they were doing something with the butterflies, I feel like my head keeps rising up in some kind of like with this hat. Like I feel it on my hair.
You look fine from over here, so I think it's just you.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking it was like my head, my slippery head. Okay. So I scrolled on you there. Sorry about that.
It's all good. But
so you were saying coffee is one of them.
Yes. Yeah, I learned that that coffee, the coffee bean oh my god, I'm thinking of chocolate comes from the cacao plant.
Right, bean.
Yeah. And then coffee comes from, do you remember? Because I don't.
No. Right? I'd have to Google that one real quick.
I'm Googling it right now just so that I have my facts straight.
Okay, cool. That's a good idea. All right. Am I allowed to lean out of the screen to take a sip or something? Can I do that?
Do whatever you gotta do.
Can I do a dodge?
Oh, I mean, it comes from the coffee plant, but it's
right.
I didn't know that the seed of a coffee plant is the source of coffee, which makes sense. But it's spelled with an A at the end. I actually didn't know that. But those actually come from, at least I'm looking off of Wikipedia real quick. The fruits, coffee cherries are berries. Most commonly contain 2 stones with their flat sides together. Oh yeah. A small percentage of cherries contain a single seed instead of the usual 2. This is called a pea berry. The pea berry occurs only between 10% and 15% of the time. It is a fairly common, yet scientifically unproven, belief that they have more flavor than normal coffee beans. Like Brazil nuts, a seed, and white rice. Coffee beans consist mostly of endosperm. Wow, interesting.
What makes the other species so different? Does it have a different chemical compound, I'm wondering? They say it has no other flavor like it, right?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
2 most economically important varieties of coffee plant are the I'm hoping I'm not butchering this, Arabica and the Robusta.
Sounds good to me. Oh.
Also known as Arabian coffee.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay. The coffee shrub of Arabia, hence Arabian coffee.
So I guess region is what determines the flavor, right?
Yeah, the region definitely determines the potency or the flavor of the coffee. Yeah.
All right.
So those beans consist of 0.8 to 1.4% caffeine, and the Robusta bean consists of 1.7 to 4% caffeine. Oh.
Wow, that's a big difference. So that's
a little bit. Coffee. Interesting.
Yeah, that's.
So now you know a little bit about coffee.
Yeah, and hey, bees. Because no
Yeah.
bees, no coffee. Like that. What was that silly movie when it first came out? I was like, oh, it's so annoying. Um, Seinfeld was the voice animation for the Bee Movie, I think it was called. And when it first came out, it was I never saw the whole thing, and I just watched it recently. Do you know what movie I'm talking about? It's called The Bee Movie, and it
Hmm.
talks about it's very easy, but it had an actual really good message for the young ones about no bees, what would happen if they all decided to go on vacation, so to speak, and what it would do to everything. And they did it in an approachable kid way, which I thought was really neat. So
Right.
you know
Well,
interesting.
what would happen?
Well, the premise of the movie is they all are assigned a job and they're busy bees, and then all of a sudden, one of the bees decides to help a girl with a lawsuit saying that bees shouldn't have to work as hard as they do. They deserve vacations and they deserve a strike, and we deserve to lounge around. So the judge ruled in their favor, and bees didn't have to go to work anymore. So they all stopped working, and all of a sudden, you started to see the city trees wither. Ooh, cool ringer. Um,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that part? My phone just went
oh
off.
yeah. Um, then you would see him going through the city and how things started to change. The trees started to wither. There was no flowers. All of the food, the fruit stands, everything started to rot. Um, and the moral of the story was bees, of course, wanted to go back, and they finally did go back to save the planet because the planet was going to die without a food source, right?
Oh, jeez.
So, I mean, it's of course they made it a more kid version. I'm just kind of being
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like basically, and they're doing it in a really cute way. And in the end, they saved like the flower show that happens in Paris, and they saved this girl's business who was a florist, and they saved the world. And they talked about how they were in the city and they just had these little flower boxes, and just having a flower box made a difference. It was somewhere for a bee to go on a sea of concrete. So it had some really cute messages. So I recommend seeing something like that. But that's what would happen. People don't realize the effects that they're having on our environment, and that's okay because our government doesn't see it, or whatever. And so what can we do? Well, we can take our own yards. We can take control in our own space. We can make a difference, and one little tiny yard, one tiny little basket at a time can really transform and bring back what will help everything from air currents to more bird species, more diversity, more sustainable food. So anyway, so I think
So real quick, like,
yeah.
for those that may not care as much about, butterflies or bees, or it may not affect, they may not see the actual effects until maybe later on, or just don't realize them
Not
at
at all.
all. Like,
Right.
what, like, off the top of your head, like, what would be, like, I guess, specific effects that may arise, you know?
Okay, so specific effects, like what is a common thing that people do that they can
Yeah,
see?
like something in their common lives that, like, like we were saying, like, chocolate or like coffee, or even, I don't know,
Oh, what can you do?
potatoes or something like that.
Okay. So in other words, what can you do is what you're asking.
Yeah, like, I mean, what would be, like, I guess, more noticeable effects than, like, okay, this, I have easy access to this because, just everything's gone, the world is spinning, all that kind of stuff. Like, everything's normal, but if we took out, like, a couple, like, say a butterfly or like a bee species, or even, I don't know, a dragonfly or whatever, like those kind of species, like, what would not happen anymore? Like, would potatoes not grow? Like, so we can't eat sweet potatoes or anything anymore? Or, like, would we make? we may not be able to, give our significant other on Valentine's Day, like a specific flower or something like that? Like what would, do you know what would happen specifically?
Oh, well, I think
Or maybe like a little broader
um
effect?
well, I think we all know that poison is poison. Well, here I'll tell you at least my story. So I was a
Yeah,
gardener,
at least based on your experience, yeah.
right? Because I'm not yeah. So uh,
Sorry if that was a little too specific.
eh, that's okay, but it's very complicated. So I'm like, how can I make that simple? So I
Right.
was a gardener, really no experience other than I loved flowers. I loved watching the butterflies. I loved having bees in my yard. So I've always been kind of a naturey, made my home as naturey as possible.
Right.
Um, and I think I didn't, I thought I was benefiting the environment by having a pretty yard and having it, manicured and nice with flowers, was doing the right thing. And then when I found out that box stores, for example, big box stores, their plants are all soaked in systemic or poison. So this way they don't have spots in them and they don't, insects aren't going to eat them and they're going to look perfect in your yard like a piece of plastic. Um, I never knew that. So I would buy those plants and put them in my yard. And it wasn't until I learned that those plants were actually doing the exact opposite of what I was trying to do. Like I'm trying to make my yard this beautiful oasis. I don't know much about flowers, but they're flowers. And I put them in. And since, that was probably like 17 years ago when I first started gardening, I had transformed my yard into I want to say 90% native plants and trees, and the difference in my yard is astounding. I have just such a great ecosystem and biodiversity in my yard, uh, which supports so many things. I see so many bird species. I see just tons of activity, which is exciting. And I think if like the premise of the movie, even if you just have a flower box, one plant in particular is milkweed. So let's say I really can't make a garden, I can't do this, I can't do that, I only have a window box, then you could plant one flower, which would not only benefit our dare I say the word bees, I know a lot of people don't like that, but it's the only food source for a monarch butterfly. You're guaranteed to get a butterfly, guaranteed. Something will come, you will see it. You
From
plant
milkweed.
Yeah, yeah. So every person can make a really small difference, by doing something as simple as that. Is that kind of what you mean? Or did
Yeah,
I?
yeah. I'm just asking, like, so that's one. I'm glad that you brought that up, just because I wanted to go into another.
Did I jump?
No, 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 it's fine.
I
I
tend to
wanted
get
to
so
just
like,
ask, like, how can we bring, like, if you wanted a nice, like, garden, like, what kind of plants would you put in it? So yeah, I guess you jumped a little bit, but that's fine. Um,
I did because
but
you were asking me, what do you do with someone who doesn't really know they, about what they're doing? They're just spraying their yard or whatever you were saying.
yeah, they're just
Yeah. So
spraying, or they're
how do
just
I
like,
approach
like,
them?
they don't realize, like, oh yeah, I want a nice garden, but like I don't want any of these other things to come in here because I just don't like bugs or whatever.
Right,
But
which is
like,
okay.
why? But my original question was like, if we get rid of a certain like insect or species, like, can you hear me? Oh, now I can hear something.
Okay, now I can hear you. Wait, I don't know if it's okay.
You okay?
I'm good. All
All
right.
right.
All right, I fixed it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you muted out. So you started talking and asking me something or stating something, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying.
She'd be like,
Yeah.
stop! I don't know what you're
Yeah.
saying. Right?
Yeah.
So what I was asking is pretty much like, if you took out, like, say, a regular monarch butterfly out of the ecosystem, like, do we know what would happen, like, either to our food source or maybe to a plant source or something. Like
Yeah,
that would be kind of noticeable.
yeah, that's a really good point. Um, the studies that have been done on monarchs is incredible. I mean, as well, you may not know, but monarchs travel from where we are here in New Jersey, like almost 3,000 miles to Mexico every year.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And to overwinter, and then they start their journey back up north again. So I think a lot of people, because it's so iconic and it's a large butterfly, I think it's the ambassador of what's going on in the insect world. Like, because there's such great studies on what's been going on with monarchs, every year we have a specific number, um, and they're almost 90% extinct last year, which is according, to Monarch Watch. So that gives us an idea of something. This is only one insect we're looking at, how it's all of these others. But I think it's iconic because people recognize the butterfly. But it's really a symbol of two things. It's about how you can save the environment and an indicator of what's really going on. So it's important in many ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. So just to make sure I have this correct. So like monarch butterfly, because it was a little much for me, but
Okay, I'm sorry.
so no, just to make sure I understand what you just said. So pretty much you're saying for the winter, monarch butterflies travel all the way down to Mexico, which is
Yeah.
definitely a scenic route for sure.
For those little wings, right? Think about
Yeah,
those.
really, that's a long way from home.
Yeah, yeah.
So they do that, and then once winter's done, they come back up. I guess that's like an instinctual thing that they do, right?
Yeah, yeah. And they're
And
still
then,
not sure how they navigate like that, other than, the geomagnetics, similar to sea turtles, how they go back to where they're born, or salmon. There's,
yeah.
something that, but they're still working on how can something so small and so fragile travel that far and live over a year, when butterflies, generally live about 2 weeks, their predecessors. So
Right.
it's so many really cool things.
And
So.
really quick, can you, for those that don't know, what is geomagnetics?
Oh, okay. Meaning, um, there's a magnetic force, right, to everything, gravity, for example. So there's these electromagnetism. I guess it's almost like it's what determines longitude and latitude. It's a gravity. So it's a type of gravity,
Right.
right? So wherever they're born, many species, it's almost like a homing device. They
Oh, it's
know.
like kind of like an inner compass to be like, okay, your home is this way, just follow the arrows kind of thing.
Yes, it's instinct as it would be breathing for them to go back to that specific spot. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so they think it has, something to do with that, but what's not understood is how they pass that information to the next generation. Because it's not the same butterfly that makes it all the way down to Mexico, that it's the third generation that finally comes up to New Jersey where I first released it. So I'm looking at
Oh,
it.
so they actually go down in Mexico to like kind of breed and everything, and then it's not all the time that the one that goes down is the one that comes back.
Well, the one that goes down hibernates, and then their reproductive system is then activated once hibernation's over. They mate, they die a few weeks later, but then the generation, if they're living every 2 to 3 weeks, travels up north. So by the time it gets to us, 3,000 miles later, you're looking at its great 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 grandchild, and then that
Wow.
great great grandchild knows that fall to, instead of focus on a reproductive system, to focus on larger wings for easier flight. Then they know to go the exact same route that their great 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 grandmother went. That's crazy. They don't know how they do it. Oh, hello, Safi. This is my
What's up,
20-year-old,
cat?
by the way. Yeah.
Who?
She's 20 years old. This is Safi.
Wow.
I know.
What's up, kitty kitty?
She's starting to look like it, but she'll yell at me if I'm not paying attention now that you're awake, right? Yes. Yeah. She'll just hang out. Yeah. She slept the whole time. That's how you know she's an old lady. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
I'm sorry. You know what? It's so funny. My daughter in particular is always telling me, like, Mom, can you just give me the simple answer? And it's like not in my grain. So I apologize if I'm,
No, I mean sometimes like the longer, more explained version really helps, which that helped.
Oh, okay.
So, what's it called? Actually, let's take another break really quick, and then
Okay,
we'll
so
be
break
right
me
back.
and just cover this up, or
Yep, that's all. So you
okay,
just sit
so
there and
not
do your
15 minutes.
thing.
Okay.
You'll still see me. Just hold on 1 second.
Okay. So I put like a little thing over my computer. This way I can like I'm gonna have a smoke. Am I allowed to do that? Having a drink.
Sure, why not?
All
All right,
right.
guys, we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching The Drink Sustainability. Warning. As you watch the show, be sure to clink at your own risk. Drinks may not appear the way that they seem.